maybe done a lot of things that he is trained to do, but he was not trained to throw the student. When you make an arrest from someone who does not have a weapon that you need to escape from, you never let go of that subject. You maintain control of him, the person you're trying to arrest. When he threw her across the room, he lost control of her. That's not acceptable. That's what violated our policy.
Is there a policy gap?
Has Deputy Fields expressed any remorse to you or to the department?
I don't know if the word is remorse. He's sorry that this whole thing occurred. It was not his intent. His intent was not to do anything that brought discredit on the sheriff's department or him or that school. He tried to do his job, and that's what he feels like he did. He tried to do his job. It happened very quickly. His actions was something that if he probably had to do it over again, he would probably done them different.
Did you speak to him personally?
Sheriff.
Yes, I did speak to him personally.
Okay, sure.
This goes back to, as lay people who haven't had law enforcement training, how do you do that correctly? You don't obviously throw her out of the chair, but how do you get her out if she's refusing to get out of the seat?
Well, the first thing you do is you try to use some verbal communications. We would hope that, physical force would be the last resort. She wasn't a danger at that point. She was just being non-compliant and disrespectful. You try to use verbal commands, and you try to do it verbally. You try to de-escalate the situation instead of escalate it. And then when you do have to put your hands on someone, there's techniques that we're taught. There's pressure points. There's other things that you use. It's called pain compliance. And throwing someone across the room is not pain compliance, and that's not something that we teach.
Sheriff, clearly you are taking this to the utmost of seriousness. We've heard from the community with the backdrop of the church massacre here earlier this year with Baltimore, New York, Ferguson, everything that's happened here. Just wanted you to be a little reflective maybe and tell us, what is it like? There's great interest from around the country in this. What is it like to be at the center of something like this in this particular time? You've been the sheriff for 20 years. I'm sure in law enforcement much longer. Columbia's changed. The country's changed. What's it like to be here today?
Well, I think what you're seeing today is bringing out the best of the Columbia community. You haven't seen riots. You haven't seen protests. You haven't seen burning the buildings. What you've seen is people come together. We have the numerous churches represented here. We have the Citizens Advisory Council here. I think people here know that we're going to do the right thing, and they expect us to do the right thing. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing some swift action by us. You're seeing that we're doing the right thing. And I think that's what this community expects us to do, and they waited to see us do that. And I think you've seen that throughout South Carolina, that we deal with situations. We don't run from them. We don't deny them. We address them head on, and then we try to find solutions for them. And then we move on. And that's what you're seeing here.
Sheriff, can I have a follow-up?
Sheriff, initially your office told us that there had been no injuries sustained in this incident. Yesterday you characterized that the girl had received something like rug burn. Now her lawyer says that she sustained injuries to her arm, neck, and back. Was your original characterization accurate?
It was accurate with the information that I was given. That's what I was told, and that's what the officers on the scene and the school administration all expressed. Nobody said anything about any injuries besides what I described yesterday as occurring. Now, what's occurred once she has an attorney, that may be a different story.
Sheriff, while he was found to have violated some policies and procedures, will this incident change any of the training SROs have to go through or any of your other deputies?
Well, of course, we're going to use this as a learning opportunity for all of us. We'll take what he did and the mistake that he made. We'll make sure that all of our deputies who are in the schools and then all the deputies throughout the Sheriff's Department learn from that and know that you have to do things differently and not like he did. We're also going to talk very closely with the school districts and making sure that they understand that when they call us that we're going to take a law enforcement action. They're there to take administrative actions. And if they want us to take a law enforcement action, then we'll do that. But if they don't want us, then they don't need to call us that. It maybe needs to be re-examined on the role of the SRO that some of these schools are using us for. Should he have ever been called there? That's something we're going to talk to the school district about. maybe that should have been something handled by the teacher and that school administrator without ever calling the deputy.
Sheriff,
Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff, you said that her actions were very disruptive, the students' actions were very disruptive during class. Can you give specifics on how and what she did to be very disruptive?
She wasn't following instructions of the teacher. There were certain things the students were supposed to be doing. I think they had Chromebooks they were supposed to be studying from and doing something that's education related. She was not doing that. She was using her phone. He had asked her to put it up. She continued to do it. She wasn't doing what the other students were doing. He was trying to teach. This teacher was trying to teach. That's his job. She was preventing that from happening because she was not paying attention. And then she was verbally disrespectful, would not do what he asked her to do. When he wrote her up and told her to leave and go to the office, she refused to do it. She continued to disrupt the class. So from the moment that she started, and it continued right on through when the officer got involved in it. So she prevented what occurred and what's supposed to happen in a classroom, and that's for the teacher to teach and students to learn. She prevented that from happening by her actions.
She faced some charges.
Were there any prior behavioral issues with the students or anything that Officer Fields and administrators would have been aware of?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know the students' history at the school. And really, that to me, that doesn't matter. That's not something we looked at. And I think I said that yesterday. The student's behavior, what she did was not what I looked at. What I looked at was what my guy did. And that's why he was terminated for, was his actions, not anything that she had to do. It's entirely what he did. That's what we looked at.
Sheriff, is she facing charges, Sheriff?
Did the school ever relay to you any concerns about Deputy Fields? It seems he had a certain reputation among some of the students. They nicknamed him Officer Slam. Was any of that ever brought to your attention?
No, he's been at that school for 7 years. He's highly respected as a school resource officer. They wanted him at Spring Valley. He has tremendous support from the faculty and staff at Spring Valley and from students. You know, of course, when something like this happens, you do have people that's going to come up and say things they've never said before. We have never heard anything like that. It's never been a complaint. It's been absolutely, totally the opposite. If the school had had any problems, they wouldn't allow him to be a football coach. He was part of that school administration, part of that staff. So there was no signs or no indications or anything like that. And, you know, I've read and heard some things that students have said, but I've also been contacted by a lot of parents, a lot of students, and from officials from that school who were totally in support of him, what he's done in the past and what he did the other day. But again, my decision is based on what he did as a deputy sheriff. As a representative of me at that school, when he put his hands on her, when he threw her across the room, that's what I made my decision on.
Sheriff, given that the officer did not follow policy, have all charges been dropped because of activity?
Based on the information that you now have, what injuries did the student sustain?
I don't know. I've just heard the same news reports that the attorney now, and again, you know, you have to look at what happens now, how different people now will become involved in it. You know, I've heard criticism that we didn't move fast enough. This is slightly over 48 hours. I doubt very seriously there's been any other case in the nation that something similar like this that moved as quickly and we took action as what we have done. You know, that's what we're going to do. Somebody in the back had something. Somebody in the back?
Yes. Have all the charges been dropped against Nia Kennedy, or why was she arrested?
I don't know all the facts about her. I did not deal with that. To my understanding, no charges have been dropped against anybody. And to my understanding, the charge is going to continue. What they did was wrong. They violated the law. Now, what Officer Fields did is wrong also. We're dealing with that. But we're not going to lose sight of what the students did also. So I don't know all the facts. I don't know all the facts from her arrest, so I can't address her. What I'm addressing is what my officer did.
What about in the past? Has he ever raised any concerns? Can you talk about the past complaints and the ones that were sustained?
No, because I don't know everything about him. I mean,
You have never had any cause for concern or had to talk to him about?
if I've had cause of concern and felt that he was a danger, then he wouldn't have been in the school. If the school thought that he was a problem, they wouldn't have allowed him to be at Spring Valley for 7 years. Prior to that, he was at E.L. Wright Middle School. He received awards for character and stuff. So
But she
again,
also had some complaints, she said, that had been sustained.
right.
What
And
were they?
honestly, I don't know. I haven't examined that. That's not what I looked at. What I've been concerned with over the last 48 hours is what happened at Spring Valley High School on Monday. That's what I've looked at, and that's what I've made my decision based on.
So who will face what charges going forward? What will the students face now that you've gone through the investigation and you can properly charge them, or when will they be charged? And then will the officer face any charges?
Well, I don't know if the officer's going to face charges because we only did the policy violations. That's up to the FBI. We've turned that completely over to the FBI. So if any criminal charges come, it'll come from the FBI, United States Attorney's Office. The students that were arrested, their original charge stands. There's nothing happened or changed with those charges at all. They still need to be held accountable for their actions. What Deputy Fields did doesn't excuse them for what they did. And, that to me, that's two separate things. He did wrong, they did wrong also. He's been held accountable for his wrong. They should be held accountable for their wrong also.
Sheriff, you mentioned that the teacher and administrator gave statements in support of Deputy Fields. Can you tell us a little bit more about their statements? What did they support?
They supported his actions. They felt like that everything he did was correct, that he didn't use excessive force, that the student was the one that was combative, and that what he did was correct.
Even the physical part.
Even the physical part. They had no problems with the physical part from those two other adults in the room, and one student in the room also who videoed it had no problems with it. But again, I'm the one that had problems with it. I'm the one that counts when it comes to his employment. I have problems with it. He didn't follow our policy, so I have a problem with that, so I deal with that. We listened to them, we took their statements, what they saw, but again, I have to make the decision. Is he someone that I want representing me wearing my badge and going out here and carrying out the duties? And my determination was no on that, and that's why he was terminated today.
Did you know him personally? Is it a tough decision for you?
I have 900 employees. I can pretty much know every single one of them. That's one of the things that I make that's very important to me, is that I do know all my people very personally. Is it difficult? It was the right thing to do. Is it something I enjoy? Definitely not. But that's part of my job. As the sheriff, that is my responsibility. That's what people elect me to do, is to make the hard decisions, and I made that decision today. To me, it wasn't a hard decision. It was a decision that was very evident that I needed to make, and I make it.
Sheriff, you said that this was a learning situation, or you hoped that it would be a learning situation. What have you personally learned from this experience?
The positive that I've learned is that this community can stand tall, and that we can work together, and that we won't allow an incident like this to tear us apart. That's probably one of the biggest things that I learned, is that all the work and time and effort that we've been putting into building a relationship with the community for all these years, it showed. It showed having a Citizens Advisory Council as being a very positive thing. And I've been criticized a great deal within the law enforcement community for having a Citizens Advisory Council. For years, we're the only ones that had it, and other agencies criticize us for having citizens come in and see what we do and have a voice in what we say. That's totally wrong with me. We work for the people, and there's nothing we should hide from our citizens, and that's why we have a Citizens Advisory Council. So what I've learned is that the hard work and the efforts we've put in all these years, it worked. It worked, and it's showing that it's continuing to work, and we'll move forward with it. Yes, ma'am.
In terms of Mariah Kennedy, the student who was not involved directly in that video, but was charged with disrupting class afterwards, if her disruption of class came after, almost in response to what she saw happen with the deputy and that student, why wouldn't her charges then be dropped if you're saying that that deputy acted out of the normal system?
And that's something for a prosecutor to decide. That's not what we're going to decide. She still disrupted class. You saw other students that did not disrupt class. They sat there and they did what students are supposed to be, and that's well disciplined. The language that she used and some of her actions continued to disrupt the class. But again, the charges have been made, and that will be determined at a later date what's going to happen with it. That's not something, decision that I'm going to make today. Again, my whole focus has been, since this happened on Monday, is did my deputy do something that he shouldn't have done? And that's what we focused on.
Could you maybe say what a citizen or a student in this case should do if they see a police acting inappropriately?
Exactly.
Should they sit there, or should they?
Exactly what some of those people did, and that's film it. Film it and give us the opportunity to address it. And that's what those students did. They filmed it, and we're addressing it. And that's what citizens should do. I would hope that every citizen, that has a cell phone that has a camera on it, they see something that's going on that they've got questions about, then they need to film it. And then they need to get it to the proper people and let us look at it and see if it's something that's being done correctly or not. I can't fix problems if I don't know about it. And that's what we look for our citizens to do. Our citizens should police the police. That's their job too, is to police us and make sure we're doing our job the right way. And when we don't, then it's up to me and other law enforcement leaders to fix those problems. And either we correct the problems or we get rid of the problem. And that's what we're doing. Somebody's hands up way in the back.
Have any of your SROs ever done anything like this before?
My question is, when you say citizens have the right to police the police, does that also include students who are responding to policy, to actions that were outside of policy and therefore simply an attack on a classroom?
Should they record it? Yes. I mean, when I say...
They have the right to police the police. The students, are they also citizens who have the right to do that?
Yeah, I think everybody's a citizen, regardless of your age or if you're sitting in a classroom or if you're walking down the street. All right. Thank you all.